you analyze what, how the overall competition in the industry is, right? So to bring it to a very simple example, let's take the example of a smartphone industry, right? So in smartphone industry there are a lot of competitors. You'll see you have Samsung, you have Vivo, you have Oppo, OnePlus, Apple, right, Moto G. So all of these are there, right? So which means that if you enter a smartphone market, there would be a lot of competition, there would be price cuts, there would be a price wars, right? So in this way I can analyze that how competitive the industry is. So in this case, for a smartphone market, the competition is very high, right? Second comes the bargaining power of the buyer, right? So this is the second force, which means that the buyer, how much influence the buyer has on the the supply and the price of the product, right? So for example, if I consider a retail chain, maybe a big retail chain, let's say DMart or Walmart, right? So they have a lot of bargaining power over their suppliers, right? Which means that because they are buy in bulk, right? So the suppliers, they have to reduce the cost, which means that they have to reduce their profit margin as well to get the more volume, right? So this is how it affects them in the retail industry, right? The another thing, the third force would be the bargaining powers of the suppliers. Now the tables have turned, now the power is with the suppliers. When would it happen? When there are few suppliers and there are a lot of buyers, right? So I can let's take an example of, again, the smartphone industry, the chips that go in the smartphone industry. Let's say there is a company which is manufacturing a very rare component of that chip. Let's say Nvidia is manufacturing, right? So then Nvidia will control the price of that component, which will ultimately affect how much the final product is priced at, right? So Apple is at the mercy of Nvidia now. All right, so this is something. This is called the bargaining power of the suppliers. The next is basically the threat of the new entrants, right? So how easy it is to get into this market or the industry that you are analyzing, right? So for example, if I take the airline industry, it's very hard because the capital requirement is very high, right, for leasing the planes or even the buying the planes, right? So there it is very high. But if I consider a simple business as a food truck, it is very easy. I can also go tomorrow, buy a truck, and start the business, right? So in that, the competition will be very intense, right? So this is called this is the another factor, which is the threat of new entrants. Then again comes the threat of substitutes, right? So threat of substitutes will give you that whatever product you are trying to manufacture, are there substitutes available for that, right? So if there are substitutes available for that, and if the switching cost is very low, then you would have to compromise on your margins, right? Because there would be a customers can easily switch between the products, right? So this also you have to analyze. So for example, again, the smartphone market, right? So if I don't buy Samsung, I can get a similar feature phone in maybe a OnePlus range, or I can go for Motorola as well, right? So I mean, I have substitutes available for that, right? Another example could be coffee versus tea, right? So for